Good afternoon and welcome to Lancaster Connects, the show about small business and small charity success in Lancaster County. My name is Ben. Flying solo today. Jeff is still recovering from his knee replacement surgery, and he had some physical therapy appointments this afternoon. And if you are joining live, we started the show a little late today. Today threw me a curveball. I had to be out in the truck this afternoon or this morning and this afternoon. Did about 3 jobs in Maryland. Did a couple jobs here in Lancaster. Got, I think, 5 jobs done, hundreds of miles on the truck. And I literally just pulled into the parking lot like 5 minutes ago. So our guest and our podcast producer, Chris, very gracious and able to push our normal start time back an hour. So thank you very much to them. Of course, if you're watching this anytime after 3 o'clock on March 13th, it doesn't matter. I know a lot of folks, join us live, but a lot of folks watch after the fact as well. So again, this is Lancaster Connects. We highlight local small businesses making an impact in the community, and also of course, nonprofits and charitable organizations. We've got a great one on today. I'll introduce her in just a moment. Just a quick mention that we love your comments during the show. Commenting during the show earns you prizes. We spin the prize-a-later at the end and pick a winner for some Less Nor More Cuddle drinkware or an on-the-go bundle, which is a little blanket and a little pillow. Jana, thank you so much. So doesn't matter if we're 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 3:14 on a Monday afternoon, Jana's tuning in live. So thank you so much. Of course, that's the cool thing about Facebook, right? We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, on LinkedIn, all broadcast live on all those channels. But of course, people hang out on Facebook. People are in their feeds all the time. And if you're in there now, you may see this live feed being put out there. So thank you, Jana, for watching as always and commenting and being like #1 groupie fan. So without further ado, I've made our guest wait about an hour and a half or so past the time where we normally would start. We've got a great guest today, Maureen Westcott of the Arc of Lancaster and Lebanon. Did I get that right?
You did. Very good. Thank you. And you even said Lancaster, not...
Yeah, right. Not the other way to say it. Yeah. How are you today, Maureen?
I'm well, and then very flexible for today. It's the only day of the week it's flexible, so you got me on a good day, Ben.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Normally there's a chance to talk to the guest, 10 or 15 minutes before the show starts, but we just had to get right into it here because, like I said, I just pulled into the parking lot there. So again, thank you for being on, and thank you for your flexibility there. So a couple things that are unique about Maureen. Maureen, you're a customer of Gardeners.
I am a brand new customer, yes. Just
within the last month or so.
It was. I decided I wanted an adjustable bed, and I went to 3 different stores. Okay. And, this isn't not meant to be a sales pitch for you, but it was really a good experience. And it was great. So
that's awesome. So, we do typically towards the end of the show, I share a sleep better tip, and we share a testimonial for Gardeners Mattress and More. Of course, this is Lancaster Connects, but we produce the show at Gardeners Mattress and More, and it's the Gardeners funding that makes this show happen. So I guess they're our sponsor, right? So I don't need to do a testimonial. You just did it for us live. So thank you so much, and I didn't have to ask you to do that. That was it was wonderful. Thank you. And Maureen, I actually attend a church where your son goes.
I know. I tell my team it's a small world in Lancaster, and we have now 2 connections, Ben.
That's right. I can't claim to know him very well. We've only been going to the church for a handful of months now, maybe a year or so, and I'm just starting to get to know everybody there. And I know he's a bass player, and yes. we've helped a few people move in the church over the last year or so, and we always seem to show up there together. So there he is, Zach. I think he just posted a comment there. So thanks for watching, Zach. I talked to Zach a little bit about the show yesterday. So Maureen, I think we'll jump right into it. You're here to talk about what the Ark of Lancaster and Lebanon does and who you are. So let's jump into that. What is the mission and purpose of the Ark of Lancaster?
Our mission and our focus is intellectual disability and autism. The disability world is divided because of the funding. The diagnosis determines the rules and regulations of the funding. So our world is intellectual disability and autism is where we go. And our mission is to empower people with intellectual disability and autism to lead lives of their choice. And so what we do is we navigate, we collaborate, we advocate, any more eights we need on what we do to help them understand the very complicated Medicaid system and how to how to get into that system, and then once you're into it, how to navigate through it.
So how does someone find the Ark of Lancaster? Are they referred to you? Would they, search online and find you? Like, how would somebody find the services of Ark of Lancaster?
Well, the Ark is a national organization and with a statewide presence, and then local chapters that are by county. So our chapter is Lancaster and Lebanon County. We cover the two counties. And people do from an online search. They do it because a friend referred them. They do it because someone where they're receiving services will refer them to say, if you go into the county through supports coordination, and there's an issue, they'll go through they'll say, hey, why don't you call the Ark? You need some training on this, or they'll have resources for you. And we're brought in from a lot. But honestly, and the way I appreciate you doing this, Ben, is because so many people said, I never heard of the Ark. I wish I knew about it because I had an area you could have helped me if I only would have known to reach out. But yeah, we're busy, so people are hearing of us.
That's great. It kind of is related to the guest we had last week from, oh gosh, I just had it in my head and I just went blank. I've been like, my head is just today. But we're the services for dementia and
the Alzheimer's, yes.
Alzheimer's Association, yes. And she was saying a lot of people find them almost not too late, but like after the fact that they could have gotten help earlier. You know what I mean? And it sounds like the Ark is kind of the same thing. You want people to find you right away to have that education and have you help them navigate through developmental disabilities, correct?
We do. And also because the funding is state funded. And so there is a huge waiting list of services. And so as we tell people, like I have a daughter that's 37 with an intellectual disability. And my daughter has services because of different reasons when she was younger. But we'll get parents contacting us that are 70 or 80 and saying, I need to think about when I pass away, what is the help for my son or daughter? And if we're looking at a 5-year waiting list for services, you really wish that you started that conversation when someone was in their 20s or 30s. Because just because you start the conversation does not mean you're going to be able to receive the services just because it's underfunded by the state. Oh,
right. Wow. Yeah, that's disappointing that it's underfunded, because it sounds like there's definitely a need. And a growing need there.
And now, even with that, Ben, just to finish that thought, it's not even underfunded. There's now a waiting list within a waiting list because the direct support professional crisis has meant, again, with state set rates, that people might have the ability to have a waiver, which is what it's called when you get the funding, but there's not a provider's not able to provide the services because they don't have the staffing support. A little bit like what you dealt with today, that, when you need staffing, and it's not because they're not good staff, but life happens. our team members, and people are waiting for services because the providers do not have openings to provide it because they can't find the staffing support to provide those services. That's our role, where we help make that known to the community, and we help work through what can you do in the meantime.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I know the ARC runs a ton of programs. You have a lot of different programs for those with intellectual disabilities and developmental disabilities. Can you pick, 2 or 3 of these programs and maybe describe them in a little more detail for us?
Sure. One of the things that we do is to talk about life planning. We have a program called Facing Forward, where we use life course tools. And the life course tools, actually on April 22nd, we're going to be having an all-day seminar workshop on this to talk about what we do. But that helps parents to say what makes a good life and what does not make a good life. And right now we're doing this one-on-one with some families once a month, but we're also, as I said, going to do that as an all-day Saturday seminar. We don't charge for our services. Everything we do is to come in. Families have enough, they do. We also do advocacy, where we come into the schools, and that we come in and we're there to support one-on-one with an IEP. If a student has an individual education plan, we can come in and help advocate for that. We run a self-advocate group. Adults with disabilities have nationally been asked to be called self-advocates. So our wages group is an empowerment group to teach them how to speak up for themselves, to bring topics like nutrition or fitness, setting goals. We bring all that. And we have a sibling group, because SIBs with disabilities many times feel like they're left out. There's so much that you have to do with the sibling with the disabilities. So we just have a really fun, wild time here that the siblings come in and do crafts and food and snacks and discussion.
Where is your office?
We are in Lidditz, because as we're both Lancaster and Lebanon, Lidditz is halfway between. So we're out by the sheets there on Airport Road, which is really nice. You can see our swoosh and our branding from the road. And that's important,
Yeah, I'll have to look out for it. You're right off of 501, I guess, or right in that area.
501 on Airport Road. Yes.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, that's perfect placement right between Lebanon and Lancaster. Kind of right in the middle there. So how many staff members do you have at the facility?
There's just the 4 of us. We have Dana that's up front, Dana Henry, and she's the administrative, do everything to connect us all, answer the phone and do the data entry, help out in all of our programs. Amy Austin is our program manager, and she runs all the programs. So it's her responsibility to figure out the crafts for the kids and to come up with the guest speakers for the wages. And just to confuse me, they have Amy Fisher, has to, because we have to, and so I'm always, it's like, no, you mean the other Amy. Amy Fisher does our advocacy and family support. And my team is so excellent in what they do. When you call into the ARC, you will get people that absolutely know what they're doing and are dedicated, respectful, understanding of what the family and the individual is dealing with. And then I fill in all the rest of development and managing the business portion. Nonprofits are also a business. So I manage 100%. The business portion.
Well, that's awesome. Sounds like you've got some great people there. You mentioned schools. Do schools work with you when they have children with intellectual and developmental disabilities?
Yeah, they've reached out to us because it's a complicated world when you have an individualized education plan, an IEP. So when a student with a disability has that, parents have rights, the schools have what they need to do, their requirements, and sometimes that doesn't quite mesh. And so what you do is then Amy will go in and can be a mediator, can be a help explain the rules to the parents. That's Matt and Cindy you're seeing now, some great supporters of the ARC. And so what Amy Fisher does, is she goes in and she can help prior to it, help the families understand the rules. And then during the meeting, help make sure that their voice is heard, or to help interpret some of the language that is the system language that the school uses, like any professional does. You know, these are the technical terms. So anybody can bring us in. If we have a customer, if that would be the right, it's the person with the disability. We are impartial. We're not there because we need to get something out of the meeting. So no matter who calls us in, we're there to make sure it's the best situation for the person with the disability.
That makes sense. That makes sense. How long have you personally been with the ARC of Lancaster?
Well, I've been here 10 years. This is my 10th year here, but I was for 5 years with the ARC of Pennsylvania doing their policy work.
Okay.
And then a little bit before that, I was a provider. I helped run a small group home. And then, as I said, I've been a parent for the 37 years of a person with a disability.
Right.
And so, but in the 5 years with the state chapter was really good, because my whole role there was to understand the rules and regulations at a state level. And then coming into the local chapter just helps me to partner with the local providers, with the counties, with the families. So I come at it with a perspective of knowing all parts of the puzzle.
Yeah, I'm certain that that's so important. You completely understand the need. And, you know, when it comes to helping the patients or clients and the parents and everybody involved, like, you're the person. You've been through it, and you know everything that everybody else is going through.
From
So
the different
that's wonderful.
lenses. Yeah, because depending on what lens you look through, you know, if you're a provider running the services, you have state rules and regulations. You can't always just do. If you're the family member that wants the best for an individual, and then if you're the individual trying to grow up and move away from mom and dad, you know, we have the same typical things that happen with any person becoming an adult. And so knowing all that is a way of bringing conversation. And we're also a civil rights group where disability rights is part of the inclusion and diversity. And so we can also bring conversations of why isn't a person with a disability at this table? And so we also bring awareness to when people are in their communities of faith or in their social or at their gym or wherever, where are the people with disabilities and why are they not there? What can we do to change things to make it that they can become inclusive parts of our society?
So the ARC is very involved in the legislation and or getting legislation moved forward. Is that correct?
Well, it would be if there was typically, but some of it's just social changes. It used to be you would do a simulation of why this is what it's like to be a person with a disability, put on gloves so that you can't handle things well. And that was to create empathy. But we don't want empathy. We want to say, okay, you have this activity that's difficult for some reason. What can the social, the community as a whole do to change that? You know, can you make something at a church if there's someone with visual disabilities? Can you read over whatever the PowerPoint is rather than just having the words up on the screen? What can you do to change society so the person with the disability can fit? We see some of that in physical disabilities with access to curb cuts and that the ADA put through. But in the intellectual disability world, sometimes people forget or don't understand what accommodations they could make easily to include a person with a disability.
That's awesome that you're the voice.
We are.
Yeah. A couple things. You mentioned, I think it was the wages program. Is that the program where the ARC is helping those looking to get into the workforce?
It also does that too. We are not a provider of services, so we don't do the job coaching, but we'll talk to them in that group about, okay, if you have a situation, would you talk to your boss, or how do you speak up to your boss about a situation? How do you bring forward the fact of you're having some conflicts with another team member? What do you do about it? So that's an empowerment type of group. But last year we did do employment, where we went through an employment curriculum. But we can also help them understand who does the job coaching. How do you get the funding for that? What happens if there's not a job coach. How do you find a job? How do you just act on a job? You know, and just all that is part of what we do in that group.
That's great. That's great. You have classes going on all the time?
We do trainings. We do trainings.
Okay, trainings.
Yes. That's another thing that we do. We train the community. Like we have one on Social Security, very complicated topic. So we have a man from Social Security coming to explain Social Security. We do it on guardianship. The ARC believes in limited guardianship, but what else can you do to support decision-making without it going into guardianship? Or if you do need guardianship, how do you do that? So we have it on all kinds of topics on the ABLE account. Here's financially, how do we protect our assets so that we don't have the $2,000 asset limit, that we can have some savings. So what about ABLE accounts? What do we do with all the different areas that, what's a special needs trust? What do we do about that? We just bring in different experts on different fields, and we run trainings to help people. Medicare Advantage plan. Should I join a Medicare Advantage plan? People with disabilities many times get Medicare after they get Social Security, and not just based on age. And so what's an Advantage plan? What am I giving up? What am I getting? How do I make that decision? So those are the types of things that we offer as trainings so that people can make informed choices.
There's one on the screen coming up in a couple weeks there.
Yes.
And they're held at your facility there near the airport?
Since COVID, we have a big room here that we can do it. But since COVID, we've gone virtual and we're finding more attendees. This one was the only one that's going to be both. But generally, we do them virtually to give people the ability to join from their home. We've been finding that's better. Our parent group that we had Tuesday night last week, though, was in person. And so we had 8 to 9 parents that came together to share and to start making links. So we do a combination of both.
That's great. You know, yeah, you mentioned COVID and how things, you know, changed and went virtual. You know, a lot of things were upset by the whole COVID thing. And, you know, when things went virtual, that was the only option for most things. But you know, when you think about it, it's like, from your standpoint, you've actually benefited from the fact that virtual classes are better attended, and you know, the people that attend the meetings, you know, we're all busy lives, and sometimes it's just you don't have time to drive home, but you can log on at, well, of course I couldn't log on at 2 o'clock today, but most of the time, you know, you can just, you know, log on at your meeting time of 7 or 8 o'clock, whatever it is, and, you know, spend your hour on the computer, and it's a very efficient use of time for everybody involved. So, you know, that's great. Do you ask people to register? I guess you do, because you have to send out the links.
We do. And, you know, we don't promote a Zoom link. We found families prefer to use Zoom rather than Teams when they go onto these. And we don't want to promote the Zoom link publicly. So we use Eventbrite to register, and then I send a private Zoom link to them just to protect people. And when we have the in-person on April 22nd, obviously we want to offer some lunch. So we need to know how many boxes of food to buy.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, you got it. Can't let anybody go hungry.
If they come to the office, we feed them. That's it.
That's great. That's great. You know, poking around the website, preparing the show, it looks like there's a ton of information on there to assist families and personnel involved. Can you share how that helps and how somebody would use the website?
It is, and I appreciate that. I'm right now and trying to clean up the website a little bit.
It's a big project.
It's always an ongoing. I'm actually the one that manages the website, and I really enjoy that.
That's good. That's good.
We all have side gigs that we like as part of our job. So
that's right. That's right.
But we have a resource page, because so many times there's so many different areas that help. And you can see that you can get under early intervention, school age, adult, assistive technology. Each one of those, if you click on the gray box, will bring up further boxes related to that topic. And each one of them, we try to link to the professionals of the other sort as much as, I don't want to be the keeper of their information. If their website changes, I want it to just link to their website. Right, and so then it would just show you different resources under that topic. Financial is a big one. People always want to know, where can I go to find a rep payee? So these are the ones. How do I find out information of people that will provide these services? So we're always trying to put resources up there of people that they can call for help in this area. And so we have it separated by categories. I'm always looking. If somebody thinks they want to, then we will talk to them about it. Legal is a big one. There's a lot on guardianship that way. So then it's like, okay, here's just how you can find this. Go find these people. There are people that we have worked with in the past or that we have met that we just try. And if it's somebody's listening that would like to be listed as a resource, then they just reach out to me and I'll talk to them. I try to make sure that it's something that is a good experience for somebody.
Now, was the ARC of Lancaster or the ARC of Pennsylvania around when your daughter was growing up? Did you have this as a resource?
Well, I didn't. And the ARCs were around, but I didn't know it. And so my daughter missed a lot of resources that would have been helpful to her. Right. And that's why we want to get the word out. It was there. The ARC of Chester County, where we were, is a long-term place that does wonderful things. Each ARC chapter does a little bit different in what they do. They're each their own business, if you would. But no, we came late to the game. And until I actually started working for the state chapter, I didn't know the breadth of what an ARC can do for an individual. And so that's why we want to just let people know we're here. And if it's not us, we're also a no wrong door. Like I said, our focus is intellectual disability and autism. But we don't want people to say, oh, I can't call the ARC. Call the ARC, and then we'll say, no, that's not us. That's not our area of expertise. But try this group. That might get you closer to without going through 20 phone calls.
Well, and that's so important. You know, in the 2 years that we've been doing this podcast, we've talked to, I mean, this is episode 86. So we've probably highlighted 50 or 60 nonprofits and charitable organizations. And, you know, that's a thing. There are a lot of organizations are connected. And I think the key for somebody going through whatever they're going through and they need help, make that phone call. Because like you said, if you're not the organization that can help, you likely know who can help. And just simply, you know, picking up the phone or visiting a website, doing a Google search. I mean, it's really never been easier to like research information now compared to even, you know, 10, 15 years ago. So, but, you know, I know like a lot of organizations, you know, especially in Lancaster, they're just all connected. And, you know, if you're looking for assistance for whatever it is and you contact one, you're likely going to get to the right place if who you're calling is not it. So that's fantastic that you're willing to help beyond what you're able to do at the
those
ARC.
agencies are there for their own expertise, and why would I try to do it? I mean, and they do the same. They'll refer back to us. Lancaster is a wealth of different social agencies.
Absolutely.
And so there's so much, like housing. We get called about housing, and there's such a low amount of affordable housing in Lancaster County and probably across Pennsylvania. So what do I do if I want to find housing? And so we can say, okay, here's some of the groups you can call about that. And that's the type of thing. Or I'm having a question with my medical assistants. Who do I call? Well, here's a place that might help, type of deal.
Yep. That makes sense. So you've got an upcoming big event. It sounds like it's an annual gala. Is that what you?
It is our gala and our auction. Yes.
Okay. Yep. Tell us about that. What it is, when it is, how somebody can participate.
The ARC does not charge for our services, and we do have a couple of contracts to underwrite our advocacy, but mainly over 50% of our funds are raised through fundraising donations. And so the gala and the auction is our largest one. And what it is, it's on May 6th at Bend Creek Country Club. The auction will open up the week prior for virtually. You don't have to be at the the gala in order to participate in the auction. We are accepting auction donations if people want to donate something. We have sponsorships and advertisement for the program as ways of underwriting the cost of the auction. You can see some of our sponsors are on there now. And so this is a fun night. We do a gala a little different. We don't bring in national speakers or big speakers. We have program participants come and that will share about what the ARC does. But it's a nice, fun night. You know, Bent Creek, it's going to be good food. And we have the cash bar that's enjoyed by many. And and the auction items are all there. And the people are, when we first started virtually with the auction, we thought, oh no, is that going to make everybody on their phone? But people are so engaged. Oh, your phone dinged. Did you get outbid? Okay, now, oh, look, there's somebody outbidding me here. Who is it? It just creates a really fun evening. But it is our largest fundraiser, and we hope to raise about 25 or 30,000. So participation is critical. We have a wonderful board of directors at the ARC. They're raising, they're donating, they're inviting people to be at their table. Our sponsors get seats because as they sponsor us, they get seats to the gala. We give seats to some program participants. It's $100 a seat, so we know that's not an area that everybody can do, but it is a fundraiser, so it is necessary to have that. But it's just a good night, and it's coming up, and we're in the middle of it right now planning.
That's I'm sure there's a lot of work to do and to be done. How many people normally attend the event?
About 100 to 120 come.
Okay.
It's a good and it's enough that and with the auction being not part of the gala too, we get a lot of support of people bidding on items. Like we just got somebody that will be donating some jewelry for us, some beautiful earrings, and those types of things have come in every day. There's somebody dropping something off, and Dana should have it up and for people to start seeing items. I was going to ask if there were any like cool gifts or cool items on the gala list there or in the auction list. It opens in the end of April. So right now we're just gathering. I wanted to get enough before we opened it up, so it didn't matter. You only got 3 items.
Right.
We get about 40 items and of all prices, because once I had all high price, as I said, I've been here 10 years doing this. And somebody said, I couldn't bid because everything went. And so we try to have some very low end pricing too. Everybody wants the fun of bidding. And so it's not just all $500 and $5,000 options. We'll put a couple $10 or $15 gift certificates on there too.
That's great. And what was the website where somebody could bid?
If he could build, it's maybe Chris can put that up quick again.
Oh, Chris can do anything. Chris is.
We'll wait for that.
Chris is amazing.
There it is. And it's on our homepage. So if you go to arclankleb.org, it will be on our homepage, and it brings you to the auction site here.
Yep. I see it there. The arclankleb.org. Yep.
Right.
There he's got it on the screen.
There's the BidPal site to get you right to the auction donation. The auction site, the gala site, excuse me.
So obviously, supporting this is something we would encourage the Lancaster community to do. Do you need volunteers or anything for this sort of effort? Does the ARC need volunteers generally? Because there's multiple ways people can support organizations. Volunteering being another one.
Sometimes we don't, because our work is so much one-on-one with people. Our trainings are brought in virtually when Amy does advocacy. So we're in a different sort of world where places that run large groups and have 30 or 40 or 50 people. So our board of directors is our volunteer, and we're always open to talk to people to become on the board. But it's not an area we utilize heavily because things are so specific in the need for it. Board members are there doing their work the night of the gala. My team, the website's easy. So my team of 3 or 4 is enough to register people. Everything's going electronically that way. So it's not something that I know other groups utilize volunteers a lot, but because we're so specific in what we do, it's a different type of agency that doesn't allow, you wouldn't want to bring volunteers into a one-on-one meeting type of deal.
Yep, that certainly makes sense. So, supporting the gala, bidding on items. I think somebody could become a member.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the ways we do. The ARCs are member organizations nationally, and so, joining as a member is our way of supporting the agency. And the reason you support the ARC is so that we're here to help the families so they don't need to be charged. So your support to the ARC through membership is what allows us to be here for somebody to call and answer the phone. And we are here. You don't get a voicemail. Friday afternoon, maybe. But we work until about 2. Well, of course, Amy was here Friday for a long time. So we work to what's needed. But generally, when you call, you get a live person. So the support underwrites the agency and allows me to have a team here to work to support people. That Amy Austin is here to run her programs, and the sibling kids, you know, at the end of the year, they don't have to pay for the party. We provide a party for them, and allows me to have my team here is what it does. You support being here so that the community as a whole has the resource of the ARC.
Yep. Organizations need funding to be able to affect the mission laid out. You know, it's it's absolutely critical. I think there was another thing I saw on the website about vehicle donation. How does that work, and how can that help?
They just changed that up, and I have to look at that. It's through the ARC National, and they just switched their provider. So I have to get that and look at that. The way it has worked is if somebody has a car, they donate it to the ARC. So this site is not the right site right now. That's one of the ones that has to be changed. But they donated, and then the ARC National handles all that, and then we get a portion of the donation for that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yep. So that's cool. What's next for the ARC of Lancaster? Do you have we talked about the gala coming up, so I know you're planning that. Anything else that you're planning for, or adding to your services for, or anything like that?
We are on a fiscal year, so we go July 1st to June 30th. So our year is winding down. So in the summer, I meet with my team and said, what works, what needs to be tweaked. So right now, we only have about 2 more of our monthly meetings of what's coming up, April and May. June is our wrap up. So what's next is to say, what does the community need that we can provide that's not duplicating somebody else's efforts, and that can stay in with what we're doing, knowing that I only have 4 team members. And yes, we can add more staff, but then that's also increases your budget. But, you know, we do good work what we're doing. So what's next is to just make sure that we're doing what the community needs us to do, that we're here staying with our mission of empowering people with intellectual disability and autism, and that we're here to provide the services to the community that the community needs.
That's great. How many people do you impact on an annual basis? Just a rough figure.
Yeah, it can be. If you look at Amy Fisher's calendar, it's like wall-to-wall meetings. So it depends on which one of us. But we can anywhere between up to about 300 people. And it, you know, like that could be one person one time, or it can be one person 30 times over the course of the year or more. Which is always interesting when I have to get my stats to the funders to say, because it's a valid question. People want to know, are you doing with your money what we gave you in a way that impacts people? And so that is the difference, that sometimes we can meet with the same person, and we do. We don't just say, okay, we met with you once, we're done. We work individually, and if you need us to be there, there have been times, we don't try not to do it a lot, but there have been times it could be every week a meeting for a while till we get the situations worked through with the team as a team. And there's other times we're on that call every month because there wants to do updates, the provider saying, okay, we're going to try a behavior plan let's see how it works and we'll get back together. Sometimes it's a crisis and we have to be part of Adult Protective Services investigation as there's abuse that goes on. And sometimes it's just one time. Somebody calls, they need a resource, we give them the resource and that helped them. We had a person call that they talked to us 5 years ago and we helped them. Now life has changed, so we have a different situation now. Can you get back involved? So people come in and out of our lives depending on their needs.
Wow. Well, you're doing unbelievable work there. I think it's fantastic, everything that the ARC can offer those going through intellectual and developmental disabilities. And of course, the providers that you help and the families and all of that. I mean, the website is an unbelievable resource. I'm kind of blown away of all the different links to all the different organizations that can be of assistance to those who need it. So that's fantastic. And often when we have nonprofits and charitable organizations on, Jeff and I will make a donation. So I saw on the Gala page, there's a section to click to donate. So we'll be sending you a donation on behalf of Lancaster Connection Gardeners. And I hope it helps a little bit.
And that's why we don't put high end on things. We respect that people come from many different places. And even like during Extraordinary Give, somebody gives $10. We appreciate that. It all adds into, and all funds come directly to our services. They're here to support our services. We're, you know, as I said, we run really lean with just the 4 of us and in our office here. And so we appreciate any level of donation that people give. It really is important to us that people know it's not just we have the high givers and everybody else is, any amount is so appreciated and makes a difference in what we do.
Yep, that's a great point. Yeah, we you know, like I said, we talk about it all the time on the show with nonprofits and charitable organizations. And sometimes people can support financially, but you don't need to feel like you need to hit a certain level of financial donation to make an impact. Like you said, a small amount goes a long way.
Yes.
So that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being on. We'll get to our connection cocktail here in a little bit. Connection cocktail is just a way to get to know Maureen a little bit better and maybe the things that you like to do in Lancaster. Of course, you know, we highlight charitable organizations and businesses and whatnot, but we also like to find out what people really like to do in Lancaster. That's cool too. So let's see, what is your favorite thing to do in Lancaster? Do you have one?
Yeah, I like, well, not now because I'm annoyed with the weather. I'm glad there's no snow.
We all are.
Zach posted about 30 years ago in '93, we had that horrible snowstorm, but you know, I love getting out on my bicycle and driving around in the trails that we have. I'm in Lidditz, so I'm right near the one trail, the opening to it, and the rail trail that goes. So I start at mine, and I can go all the way up to Effort if I'm so do it. But you know, Lancaster is a good place to eat out and to do the trails. It's just a good outdoor area to go to the parks and to sit. So that's a lot what I like to do, just to take the dog for a walk in the neighborhood. I happen to live in a neighborhood where I know my neighbors, and it's the first place I've ever, you know, you walk up and down the street and I know everyone in the house. So it's a good place.
Yeah, there's a great sense of community in Lancaster. I moved into a neighborhood. Actually, it's the neighborhood across the street from Life Church, where Zach and I go. And, you know, I live in a little cul-de-sac, and everybody knows everybody. We have little neighborhood parties. It's a really cool community, very welcoming and whatnot. So, the rail trails are great. We've done the Ephrata Lidditz one. Now, we started in Lidditz. We didn't get all the way to Ephrata. Get small kids on bikes. They don't, they can't do miles and miles. But that is a nice, wide open, well-maintained trail. That's cool. So, annual event that you like to go to, and this can be self-serving.
No, it's fine. Like. It's actually with that. I have a daughter that lives in Baltimore, and has 3 grandchildren down there. My son Zach up here with his 2 grandchildren, and Zach and Mal, and then my daughter Elise. So what we do is over the 4th of July, Jessica comes up, and the kids need to go up to Nana's for the 4th of July, and we have a little bit of a family cookout, and then we have to go into Lancaster, into Lidditz, and get ice cream at Greco's, actually. Is what we have to do, plug out for Greco's. That you know, and then in the morning I have to go to Stauffer's and get the donuts. So, you know, there's some traditions that families have, and this area is good for that. And that's why living here is good for me, because I have family nearby. I have family that's down in Chester County, and we've just started a monthly breakfast. Whoever can come, because my family's huge. And so I'm one of 7 siblings. So lots of people. But
that's awesome.
Like that annual event of the 4th. Actually, the ARC's going to have, we were in the Halloween parade in Lidditz, and we're going to be in the 4th of July parade too, hopefully.
That's cool. You know, we just moved to the Lidditz area, you know, a handful of years ago, and we've started to take advantage of some of the things that the cool community of Lancaster or Lidditz has to do. And the parades are always, you know, a popular spot for the kids. You know, there's all kinds of candy being thrown, and, you know, a lot of neat floats, and of course the bands and whatnot. So that's cool. I love that your annual event is a family-based event. That's super, super cool. I love it. All right. So let's say you're bringing in, last question, some of the folks in your extended family that live outside of the county, and you're bringing them into Lancaster. What do you like to show off about Lancaster or Lidditz? Or, you know, is there some place you like to take them, or something you like to show them about Lancaster?
It's not so much showing them as the knowing why Lancaster's a good place to live. You know, the diversity of Lancaster in communities of faith and restaurants, and the different groups that are out there that you can always find, the Longs Park music, or you can find, you know, the beer fest or the balloon fest, or there's always something as, because it's like you said, family's important to me, because I come from such a large family. When bring them in, that it's that there's so many different things of different ways, that it's not just homogenous of one kind, and that diversity is important. You know, to see, oh, well, like my one sibling might go kayaking. Well, I don't like kayaking, but can we find kayaking and trails at the same time? And that type of thing. So I just really appreciate there's so many things to pick from.
Yeah, there really is a diverse amount of options to choose from, to do recreation or anything, shopping, entertainment in Lancaster. Lots of
eating out. I love eating out. So, you know, that's
a lot of great options there too. Well, Maureen, thank you so much. Of course, thank you for being a customer of Gardener's Mattress and More. We very much appreciate it, and I hope you're waking up happy every morning.
I've been sleeping through the night better, Ben. I mean, I never thought, actually I noticed I'm more, you know, at the age it's common to get up in the middle of the night or not sleep so well, but honestly I have been. So go plug and go get a new mattress.
That's great. You look very well rested. You look very well rested.
Thank you.
So, well, and thanks for so much for sharing about the ARC of Lancaster and Lebanon, and the great work that you're doing there. If anybody watching would like to learn more, the arclankleb.org. Did I get that right?
It is. The ARC, the is part of our name, because as you know, we don't use the word retarded, and it used to be the Association of Retarded Citizens, and that is not at all acceptable. But the ARC has a big history of social justice and education reform, and so families wanted to stay as ARC, so they made us the ARC. So that's why it's not an acronym. It is. But it is our heritage, and we want to keep that heritage of that.
Yep, that makes sense. Well, thank you for sharing. Thanks for sharing all about the ARC. Good luck with your upcoming gala and auction. Like I said, we'll be making a donation, and I hope it blows last year's out of the water.
Thank you so much for this. I've had fun. Thanks for making it so easy.
It's been fun. Yeah. And so, you know, this, of course, we're live now, but this is a recorded, and you can watch it, you can share it on your social networks, and people can watch it on LancasterConnects.com for in perpetuity. So feel free to use this interview as you wish.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Maureen. Have a great day.
You too.
Yep. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up because it's 4 o'clock and I got to go pick up the kids. So we already did our testimonial earlier. Maureen bought a bed within the last month or so and said some nice things about gardeners. So we're using that as our testimonial. And glad she's waking up happy every morning. Sleep better tip. We're going to skip because we are out of time and I'm pushing Chris to the limit, I think. So we'll spin the prize-a-later quick. And we'll wrap up and look forward to next Monday's show. Got some great comments early on. Zach, Maureen's daughter, maybe he will win. There's Amy. Amy, longtime listener and fan and a frequent commenter. You can come into the store and grab your choice of gift, Less Nor More Cuddle drinkware, or a little sleep bundle here, on the go bundle, pillow and blanket. Well, that's the show. Thank you for watching Lancaster Connects. Hope everybody has a great day, and we will look forward to connecting next time. Until the next connection, see you later.